my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Oh, well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone.
Hello everyone and welcome to Heidbangers episode 5. My name's Alex and I'm standing in as the substitute host for Matty, who's he's out on the piss tonight. He only told us this afternoon that he's away for some pints, and I just said, aye, why not? I'll step in. I'm joined tonight by John Wallace and Gordon Greenan. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm not bad, aye. Before we start the episode properly, we'll say the wee disclaimer that Heidbangers is a podcast that discusses mental health. We are by no means mental health professionals. If you can relate to anything we talk about in the episode, then great. But if you are suffering at all, do speak to somebody who knows what they're talking about. But listening to this is cheaper than therapy, I suppose. We're just regular guys, and we hope it helps you just by listening in. John, how are you getting on?
I'm not too bad. Yourself, bud?
All right, aye. I'm nervous as hell about this. I don't know why. I'm just talking to you. I talk to you all the time, and I'm just nervous about it. I don't know why. So, and Gordon, how are you getting on?
Aye, really good actually. Really good. Aye, it's been a bit of a slog actually, getting back to work. And I think it's because I'm still working from home, which I think a lot of people are. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because there's been no kind of separation between being off over Christmas and New Year and then just still working from home. So I'm still in the house like I was before. It's not like I've have to get up in the morning and go to the office, and it's that kind of separation of I've had my time off, I've been around the family, then I go into the office. So it's been a bit strange, although I'm sure it was like that last year, but I can't actually remember that far back. I don't know if that's just my old age or what, but I'm really good, but it has been a bit strange getting back into the swingy work. You've just started back recently, Alex, haven't you?
Aye, that was my first 2 week back, and it went, apart from getting bamboo splinters in my hand, it was all pretty smooth, so that was a rough bit. What about you, John? How are you getting on?
Not too bad. I've been back to work for 5 days, and I'm now off with the coronavirus. So
shite, man. It's so bad. But
I've been so well too, but
you're not really worst there though.
Aye, definitely. It's just been brutal on the inside.
That's not good. I think more and more people are knowing people that have got it now. It certainly is rife, but once you get it, I think it goes mostly quite quick. It certainly did for me, and it seems like you're quite chuffy, John. So you must be all right.
It's good to get some compliments.
You can't taste your whiskey though, so that's a worth bit.
That's the thing.
Right, well, I'm not really too clued up on how to host our show, so we're just a group of guys, and we're in a mental health chat on WhatsApp, and one of us, I think it was actually Matty, who normally hosts the show, shared an article with us the other night, and it gathered quite a bit of interest. It's fair to say we all read it and we could relate to it to a certain extent. So the article was called Real Men Like Otters, and it's by a guy called Sam Delaney. I've never heard of the guy, but I'll be looking out for more of his work. It was a great wee article. I can't read out the whole thing because it's quite a lengthy one, but I'll cover the key points and then we can discuss anything we like after that. I'll just see how it goes. So this guy, Sam Delaney, is him and his mate were off to a local nature reserve to look at some otters, and that was the beginning of the article. Both of them are in their 40s, they're dads, and they used to be pissheads. They're West Ham fans, and they used to go and get wankered every weekend and just act like complete dickheads. They don't regret making memories, but they hated what it led to, the fear and how they felt their bodies and everything. Constant partying wasn't the answer to how they were feeling, and they coped with their own problems, but they never spoke about it to each other. Once they had admitted they had issues, they seemed to be able to help each other out. And nowadays, in their 40s, they're just a bunch of mates happy to go for a walk and talk about all the shit that goes on in their heads, and they get to see some otters too. So that was, I think we're just going to, off the back of that, we're just going to sort of ask, can you relate to that kind of thing? Like looking back on your years of partying, and do you regret anything? Are you happy now? And what do you do to sort of cope with all the shit that you get every day? So I think we'll start with yourself, John. Are you happy to take us?
Reading it brings back to when I was in my 20s, starting out drinking. I moved back home to East Calder for a year or so, and every Saturday you're out in the piss, sometimes a Sunday, and it was good at the time. You go out, get pissed, can't remember anything, became a legend, just doing legendary stuff, having a laugh, banter, and everything like that. And when you're young, you think to yourself, "This is brilliant. This is brilliant. I'm turning into a man," kind of thing. But it's the day after. Even now, coming up for 42, you go out on a good day, have a good day. But the day after, it's when it hits home. You can't remember what you've done. You think, if I'd made an arse to myself, I wake up in my bed fully clothed. Like, how the fuck did I get here? I can't. I can't even remember leaving the pub. But it's quite scary. The downfall. I mean, you have a good day, but the downfall that comes from it is really, really scary. Sometimes you can go into a really dark place if you can't remember what you've done, and you're always kind of worrying. For me, so it's just trying to. When I read all that, it was really good. A really good thing to read about that Matty posted on Twitter.
It's interesting what you say about excess. Like that's easy done. He didn't come in to stop. And getting blackout drunk is, I mean, it's funny to laugh at it now and again, but it really isn't it's not to be advised, is it? Because
Definitely no.
like personally, I've got there are no memories that I've got. It's when I've been at tea in the park or something with my cousin, and he says, "Oh, do you not remember this and that?" And I'm like, "Well, nah, I didn't remember that. I had a litre of vodka for breakfast. I didn't remember talking shite to an ice cream vendor for 40 minutes and leaving him alone and that. That's you might as well have just made the story up for me. That's no good, but it was still a good weekend nonetheless." And Gordon, how did you feel about the article?
It was a great article. It really was. I think it's one of those stigma things about men, and like I think one of the main underlying themes throughout his article was that like the bravado around men, like to kind of have that, I've got to drink more than you, I've got to be bigger than you, I've got to be harder than you, and just being able to open up to your mates. So when it comes to like the whole partying side of things, I was quite early when I was quite young, so I was like early 20s when I had a bit of I'm not really scared. Nothing really like happened as like that bad, but I changed my sort of outset, my out view of the way I was behaving. I'll tell you a quick story. I was out for I got invited to a party of this girl I knew, and it was her sister. So I was like, I don't know, I think I was like 24, 25, and it was an 18th, and it was it was somewhere in Musselburgh. And me and a couple of my mates got invited along, went to this party, and for whatever reason, must have had a bad week or whatever, just like went crazy on the sambuca and like tequila, the whole lot, went nuts. And it was one of those, like, I didn't remember the days leading after it, but as the days went on, I remembered what happened. And Tom Jones' "You Can Leave Your Hat On" came on, and I proceeded to start taking all my kit off on this dance floor. Now, this is a birthday party that I had been invited to that that, like I say, it was the girl's sister. I didn't hardly knew anybody there, and it was people young, quite a bit younger than me. And I'm on the dance floor by myself, taking my kit off to Tom Jones. And luckily, I must have had enough savvy about me to not go any further than my boxer briefs. But one of my mates came up behind me and just like yeeked them down right in front of everybody. And it was quite cold in there, so I mean, it wasn't the best moments. But I ended up like scrapping my mate and everyone who'd done it, and I was just having a laugh, and it just went like, and I had the fear for days after it. And this was like, things like this were kind of happening more and more often. And I'd split up with a kind of long-term girlfriend, and I just like a single life, and I just went off the rails. So I made the decision off of that just to kind of, I wasn't totally teetotal, but I went off the drink for like about a year at like 25 because I was so embarrassed about like what I had done and what I was doing and not being in control of myself, to the point where I was stripping in front of 200 strangers in a room. And then scrapping with my mate who like, they went on to be my best man at my wedding. Like it was all cool. But at the time, like that could have went totally different. Just that one second could have been the wrong punch thrown at the wrong time or whatever. But I remember just linking it back to the article and the guy saying that it's important not to feel like you can't like say your feelings as a man. Like you can't say that I've got flaws and that I'm doing this because of this, I'm doing that. And you shouldn't feel like you have to be a big strong man and not say anything's wrong. I remember when I was going through that phase of just not drinking because of all the stuff that had happened, I was at a mate's flat party and I wasn't drinking. And there was like, he was staying with a uni mate, and there was loads of like randoms there that I never knew. And some girl came up to me, she was like talking to me, and she was like, and it was interesting because it was a girl, but she was like, "Oh, you know, drinking and that?" I was like, "No, I'm kind of like teetotal now. I'm just off the drink." And she was like, "What the fuck are you on about?" Like, and then she like started calling me like, not in like an aggressive way, but she just like, "Fuck's wrong with you?" Just proper belittled me, and I actually felt like shit. And I was like, "Where's a drink? Give me a drink." And it was like I felt like I can't have a woman telling me that I can't be drinking, and it like embarrassing me like that in front of my mates. And I remember a few guys like looking when she was saying it as if to say, like they were laughing, kind of thing, almost like half laughing, like this guy's not drinking, she's taking the piss at him. I think I had like one or two drinks, and then I was alright after, and I thought to myself, no, I shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't have to be peer pressured into it. And I think that whole experience, and because I got kind of through that and just thought, and still went ahead for like months after, like hardly drinking, and then like slowly got back into drinking, but in a sort of moderate state, and not getting myself into ridiculous situations, and just drinking enough that I was controlling myself. I think that really rang true in that article to me, that just what he was saying, that like I could have easily just went, nah, like screw you, hen, I'm a big man, I'm a hard man, I can take my drink and if I want to, and then just went way off the wagon again and just went daft and started stripping in my mates rather than just started stripping everywhere. But yeah, like I think the article was great, and I think there's a lot of things that I relate to in that, especially that kind of thing.
Aye, well, maybe she wasn't a Tom Jones fan, eh?
Maybe that's what it was, aye. Maybe a hot chocolate fan.
That's interesting as well, because not drinking because of the fear, like, and what it can lead to, that's like a life lesson kind of thing, as weird as it sounds. Like, you've learnt from that, like, big time, to learn to control what you do. And I can honestly say I'm the same. I've not stripped off in front of 200 folk, but like getting hammered at a wedding and I can't remember anything, and it's just so shite, and you do feel like crap for several days after it, and it's not worth it at all.
It was interesting you mentioned Tina Park there, because I used to go to Tina Park every year, and there was a few years where I was like, couldn't remember hardly any of it. And then I thought to myself, I was like, these are like big acts that I love, like bands that I love music, and I'm not fucking experienced in it because I can't remember any of it. So then, like, I eventually started going, and then no getting as pissed, and I enjoyed it so much more. It's that interesting thing that there's a culture in Britain that we just have to go to these things and get absolutely blew up. And it's like, and then but when you stop and think about it, it's like, what the fuck's the point? Because you aren't actually remember. If you can't remember what you spent, like 200 quid on tickets,
Exactly.
like, and you might never see these bands ever again. This might be a one-off. They might split up next year, and you missed the last thing because you can't remember what happened.
That's it. I can think of two things myself there, but just with what you said is, like, I was once having a conversation with my sister about like all the bands that we've seen, like, going to different gigs and festivals and that, and she's like, "Did you ever see Paolo Nutini?" And I went, "Aye, I think I've seen him 2 or 3 times, but I cannot remember a fucking thing. Like, I've been there, I've been in the crowd, and there are photos of me with him and like on stage, and I just zero recollection of it, but I had a bloody good time." And the other one was the Rolling Stones. I spent whatever it was, 240 quid, I think, on a ticket for me, then one for the missus, and then I bought my sister one. I was like, Christ, man, or maybe it wasn't as much as that, but I spent a load of money on tickets, and went and got completely melted like just before it started. It was summertime, and the heat gets to you, and I don't know how the hell I got into Murrayfield to see them. I remember some of it, but I was looking back and like, what the fuck? I can't even remember all my favourite songs and they done it. But aye, it's just not worth it. So, what do you think, John?
Aye, well, I've done something before. My pal's mum's 50th. We used to go to Elmdon nights out, and I always done rock DJ. And I used to do that sometimes in the pubs. That and was his mum's 50th, and still talk about it and then again up at the golf club, when I'm up there. So it's kind of funny at the time, like, but you're kind of like, I shouldn't have done that. But one of the times when I was younger, I was in the pub and I woke up next morning in St John's Hospital wrapped in tinfoil. I thought it was going to become an alien baked potato or something. The boy looked at me and he goes, "How the fuck did I get here?" He's like, "Oh, they brought you in last night and wrapped you up with tinfoil and that." I'd been into the pub, went into the chippy to get something, came out and I must have fell and I landed in a deep puddle, and someone threw me lying in the puddle, sparkled out it. So
Jesus.
that was a bit of a fucking frightener. So, but again, you learn. You just put it in as a notch off the bedpost or whatever. It was a bit of banter. Take it out of the name.
You get
You keep
keep
doing
the
it.
tinfoil.
Nah, they take it off me.
Oh, right. You recycle it.
But no, it's scary when you do stuff like that and you don't know how you got there. And say, I wake up sometimes, I'm like, how did I get him? I can't remember anything. You go out and have a laugh, you can say, I go out for a couple of hours, watch the football. But guaranteed I can go out at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm not getting home till midnight. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I feel it in my body. I can go in here a few years, have a laugh. But people I grew up with, that, well, I'll be honest, they're fucking pricks now. I can't be arsed anymore. I've shut the door on a lot of people back home. But my pals up here are brilliant and that. But going out drinking, because the people I used to hang around with and that, it fucks your head up drinking. Because people can have a laugh at you. But if you've got a drinking, you might say to yourself, who the fuck are you saying that to me? And you're like, I'm just saying a laugh. Like, would you see me fucking laughing? And you can end up getting into aggressive with people, or you can end up arguing with people. Someone like taste of something says something the wrong way. I mean, I'll be honest, I got done for assault a few years ago. I was at a house party. Someone's been a dick. I walked away, but it didn't turn out too well for me. I ended up getting lifted that night and got a criminal record and everything for it because someone's been a dick. Now, I had a few drink, but I still knew what I was doing. But the boy pushed me too far and I just snapped it. Because if I hadn't been drinking, I might have kept on walking. Because I'd been drinking, I kept myself to a certain level. But like, walk away. But I got to a point, I was like, nah, fuck this. And I turned around and what was supposed to be a good night turned out to be a night in itself for me, yeah. And
no good at all.
It's horrible.
That's interesting. Like you saying that as well about the guy touched on that in the article, saying like getting rid of people that at the time, looking back on it, they were wankers or whatever, but you think they're just your pals at the time. But like they've probably gone through the same thing. I mean, we're all trying to, like, you're all the same age, sort of learning or not learning how to drink at the time. But the guy, I mean, they mention in the article again that it was more than just drink they were up to, but getting rid of the negative people, like, it helps you even nowadays. Like, there's 20 years ago, you never had Twitter or Facebook and all that, and it's easy to just block someone now, or like, and that's what you're seeing most of the time. So, do you relate to any of that, Gordon? Getting rid of people, or
no, really, to be honest. Like, I know that I've been lucky. I don't know if I'm just a good judge of character. I've never really had. I can spot someone who's a knob like pretty quickly. I think usually wearing a certain football top or something like that. I just go, he's a knob now. But nah, yeah, genuinely, I seem to be quite good, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I've never really stuck around someone that's that toxic long enough for it to really be a problem. I normally am quite just straight to the point and just go, I'm not fucking dealing with you. That is no good for me, and we're just not going to get on. I always make it clear. There's been times in the past where there's been like a mate of a mate, that like you want to hang about with your mate, but that person's always there and they're always just a knob. But I just genuinely just try and keep my distance from them, and then I like let them into my life enough that it affects me.
I've just realised that I've asked you the question, have you ever got rid of people? That sounded a bit sinister. But
well, that's a different question.
I've
got a different answer, but I'm not saying it on here.
I suppose that goes to like saying what you just said there. It's like you would, so that you're not hanging about with the people that you realise are wankers, your mate's mate. I think that's where the who's coming question comes out if you're planning a night out, that kind of thing. It's always handy to know. But aye, that's good on you if you're a good judge of character and you're able to see it. I genuinely not got any clue how long we've been on here talking. Is it 20 minutes?
20 minutes, I think.
Is it? Aye, I think we've covered the whole article. Is there anything else you want to discuss now, like off the back of it, like anything that might help people, like the way that what the article brought out? Because I mean, going to see otters is the main takeaway for me. Like, otters are fucking brilliant. I'll go and see them anyway.
For me, having mental health, obviously, and I got diagnosed with having mental health and that, and then going to the changing room, for me, being able to be more comfortable and finding the right tools to use to talk about the mental health. For me, that actually, I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I can actually talk to people. I'm not afraid to say, well, look, I'm fucked up in the head, but hey, that's just life, you know what I mean? It's part of, that's who I am. But the thing as well is, it's took me a good couple of years in that now, but I think once you start learning to let go of your past, I mean, Gordon's talked about it before on one of the Heidbangers. As soon as you start, it's not easy to do, but because you do have a lot of memories, good memories and a lot of bad ones, but once you start letting go of that and closing doors, it makes it so much, your life starts feeling so much better and feel like the whole world's been lifted off your shoulders. Now, I moved to Fife when I was 15. I struggled to move in with being that age. I now accept I live in Fife. I'm actually happy here now. Got a good job that I'm loving. Met a great bunch of guys at the changing room, yourselves, with Hibs and the podcasts, and I've got a lot of good pals up here. And I'm now starting to say, right, that was history. I'm now starting to turn the page and say, right, that's where it's going to stay. I'm not going back to that. I've got a future. Because if you can't let go of your past, you've got no fucking future going ahead. It'll always dig into it, and it'll stop you from wanting to have that life you want to have. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely, it does. Aye. So, do you agree with that, Gordon?
100%. Like, I just kind of going to echo that sentiment. That I think that it's so important to. We've talked about so many times, but surround yourself with the right people. It makes just a massive difference. And so one thing it's kind of linking to what you're saying about getting rid of people in your life that are toxic and stuff like that. But the other part of that article was that I think that guy was kind of saying that I'm not sure he would have got out of what he was doing if his mate didn't come with him. So it's kind of that again, like if his mate is there, that helps him, and vice versa. And I think like you say, chatting on the WhatsApp group is brilliant. Like it really makes a massive difference just to have a bit of banter. To if you're struggling with anything, to bring it up, even though we're like relatively kind of strangers to each other. You know what I mean? To a certain extent. It's not as if we're best mates or anything like that, but we feel like we can talk to each other, and it's an open forum that no one's going to judge you, no one's going to say anything, and it makes it easier to start transitioning into that, like opening up. Because I feel for some of my mates that I've been mates with since primary school, that I'm still mates with, I've been in bands with, I've been holiday abroad with, I've like done so many things with, and there's a couple of them. I'm trying to say it that so that it doesn't give away who it is, because I didn't want them feeling like I'm saying anything about them. But there's been a few times where we've been like somewhere and we've been talking about something, and I can tell they're kind of struggling, and you try without like putting any peer pressure on them to like open up, and you try to do it in a subtle way. So I'm here for you, mate. Like if you need to talk about anything. But I genuinely think there's like one or two of them that are struggling a lot more than they're letting on. Like I think I'm like 99% sure, and it's trying to find that way of like. I mean, at the end of the day, all you can do is just say you'll be there for them, but you do worry. It's like it's your mates, and I think there is still that that thing of, especially in men, that guy was alluding to, that like, and a lot of men, that I can't open up here. I can't be honest about how I'm feeling. I can't say these things. I need to bottle it up and just get on with it because I'm a man and I have to take it on the chin and all that kind of stuff. So I still see it very often. And I think things like what we're doing just now, the WhatsApp groups, everything else, like the changing room thing that I've never been involved in, but like I've heard so many good things about it. And even just things like the amount of like podcasts that are out there about mental health now, and like social media and everything about mental health. Hopefully it's getting better, but I still think there is that sort of stigma around men not being able to open up about their mental health. And like I say, I do still see it even in my closest mates. So I definitely relate to that kind of thing.
Best thing I got told was if your car breaks down, you take it to a garage, you get fixed. If your head's broke down, you go and get it fixed. There's no shame in it. It's if something's going wrong inside your head, you go and get it sorted. It's again back in the culture, growing up. I mean, when you're young and that, and you're suffering mental health and that, you are scared to come out, because back then you're seen as a pussy or a wimp or whatever. And now it's more in the media, more open. There's no shame in going and getting your head. If there's something wrong in your head and you're struggling, there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, since I've came out there, but I'm not doing it in that way. But I came out with having mental health and everything. Oh man, it makes it so much easier. And then I've got a lot of good people around me, like my family, my friends, yourselves and that as well. And when you've got that network, it makes it so much easier to say, look, I'm struggling, I'm having a bad day, and I'm there for anyone in the same, man. And it's having that support system. It's really good.
That's brilliant. I need to check out the changing room myself, actually, one day, just go along and see what it's all about. I've just got a message on my screen saying that we're running out of time, so I think we've covered quite a lot of, well, certainly the article, and hopefully it's helped anybody that's listening. I'll leave it up to Matty to link the article to all the tweets and everything that he does. And he can edit out any swearing because he loves editing stuff. But he made
It'll be like 4 minutes.
Aye. I suppose that we'll wrap it up there. But he told me to promise that we would all wave at the end of the call and say goodbye. I'm only joking.
See you later,
But,
peace. Bye bye.
Aye, but aye, thanks for listening, everyone. I'll leave it over to Matty to tell you when the next episodes are coming. And thanks for your time, guys. I believe Matty is paying us by PayPal for our shift tonight. All right.
Superb.
Right, cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Yes, see you later.
County line I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no